Okay, I'm going to start doing a little bit of editing through a screen recorder. In other words, the way I do it is I shoot the videos on the camera, then they pop up on the Sony software. Then I open my screen recorder and I can play it and cut out sections. But the reason but when I start, like for instance, this one's about the Flairs. I've never put Flairs on before, and these are aftermarket Flairs, so I'm just going to share the problems, what I discover, and again, by the end of it, it'll make more sense, but I have to show, what I'm trying to do is show what not to do or what to do to help anybody that's interested. So that's it now, and right over my shoulder here is, I got a little poster of the car just to keep me going. I'm looking at it in my viewfinder right there. Okay, this is a video I'm putting the Flairs on. It's like I talked about a little bit last time, but you gotta remove that bolt right there. And then, okay, again, I'm starting out here. And, it's kind of a predicament. If you don't record anything, then you can't show it. And if you wait until the very end, then you have to take it all apart. So this is why I'm going to start editing. So let me just explain what we're looking at here. I got a Flair in my hand, and if you watch my last video, there's a nut, there's a bolt right here that holds the fender to the wheel well. And again, the reason I'm saying this now is because I say different things in the video. Until I discover the best solution, I can't explain it until I'm done with it. It's like you can't see in the future. But anyway, in the last video, I talked about where you get these Flairs. But there's two holes here, okay? And on the back of this, there's two U-clips that you can put a bolt in from inside, reaching into the Flair, if that makes sense. So you put the Flair up against it, then you bolt it to it. Well, again, these are pre-formed, so if this fender is not perfect to fit to this pre-formed Flair, or if or when they made these, if they didn't make these bolt holes in here exactly to match that, you're going to have to like enlarge these, or maybe bend this fender a little bit, or maybe heat this up a little bit. And so I'll just it's, again, this is hard to do, so let me just start playing. When I fit this hole's off a little bit. I can tell by looking at the inside. So I'm going to turn the sound off. I think it'd be easier. And I can just skip ahead. So I had to enlarge that hole, like I was saying. So we can skip ahead here. Now I'm trying to fit it. Then I discover that how do I stop this? Then I discovered, don't take this nut out. Just kind of round off, just grind out a little bit so this Flair will fit around that nut. Okay, and so the best way to do this is if you have a lift, you can just get underneath, look up inside with a flashlight, and see if these holes line up. See, there I'm marking it, but I was going to drill it, but then I realized I just need to round it off. And the reason that let me stop this. I don't have a really good screen editor that I can. In other words, you can cut out a section here, a section there, a section there, a section there. With this Sony thing, if you cut out one section, you got to save it, start all over, cut out another section, save it, start all over, cut out another section. That's why I don't edit videos. But anyway, right here, this is the I can't think of the term. I just can't think of the term. But anyway, welting. So this is what you put on the edge of the flare. So right here, again, I'm learning as I'm going. It comes in a roll, so it's all twisted and bent. And so I struggled through this for about 10 minutes. I'm still struggling. Okay, so what I finally figured out is start it, put some tape on there to hold it in place. If not, you're just fighting it. I gotta try to stop this video. Now, you see these U-bolts here. I already have them on here. Again, I said in my last video that they come in a package. You slip them in and you snap them on. Well, one of these, you have to reverse it. In other words, you have to flip it around. Because if you were to take a ruler, let's say, go from this plane to that plane, this sticks out too far. So if I put a bolt in, I can't tighten it because this is sticking through the hole. But I'm not sure if it's this one or this one. But the back one is fine. So one of these you got to flip over. And once you get these on, they're hard to get off. And somewhere in there I show that. But so we're to start this, see where I go. Okay, right here, that's the one you have to snap off. Now, if you got to get these off, you got to get your screwdriver under it, and there's like a ring. You got to get under it and push the like a expandable snap ring. If you can get it to push down, then you can get these to slide out. So I struggle with that. So now I'm just gonna explain how to do this. If you look real close, see that little ring right there? Again, it's hard to do these close-ups. You forget where you are. But that little ring right there, you have to slip in, push down, and push out. So slip it in. Got to get hold of that ring and push that ring down. Once I do that, it'll pop right out. Again, this is my second time trying. But also notice here's that groove that I made in the flare to fit around that nut in the wheel well. Every time I click, if I have to do this, this screen pops up. So that's what this whole section is about. And again, this is my mouse. I have to keep dragging it to start and stop. Okay, now I'm looking. I'm learning as I'm going. Now I'm on the passenger side, and I notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes here. The other side had 2, so I don't know what that means. And I'm trying to figure out why is there 4 holes on this side. Does that mean somebody else put another aftermarket flare on there somewhere along the line? So anyway, that's that. Let's see what else is on here. So again, when you're putting these on, you can see I'm reaching up inside. You can't you can hardly reach, but you'll eventually figure out the best way to reach. Also, this welting that I put on here. Again, here's the issue with when you're putting parts together. If I leave the welting off for now, or as I go, it's just one more thing you're in this whole big old shop that I gotta remember I have and find it. So I'm starting to find out. Just put everything together, and when the time comes, like if the time comes to paint these, then I'll take it off. And by it sitting on here, it'll get molded because it was all in a circle and bent and twisted. But again, you might have to go on and off, on and off, and make these holes bigger. But what you're trying to do is make this fit up here and this fit down here. And then I'm going to get into later is this height at the bottom correct? This is going to matter later. Is the bottom of this the right height? Again, I can't remember what exactly I have, so I have to keep scrolling through. Okay, so here's what I just said here. Let me, if I show this again. Well, I guess I didn't show it. But one of the problems I was saying is you can't see these holes. You can't get your eyes up to this level. So what I found out is if you get like studs that don't have any heads on them, like a manifold bolt, exhaust manifold bolt, put those into the U-nuts, and then you can screw them into the U-nut. Then they're long enough and they'll stick through these holes, and you can see if your holes are in the right spot or not. So I don't remember the size, but I just happen to have some. So let's just see if I show them. Turn the volume up. I can't remember what happened. Yeah, I can hear it snap into the holes. Or trying to get. Let's show those studs. The problem is, like I said, it's right. This has to get over more. Okay, I gotta stop this again. Be careful about moving this top hole. If you move it too far this way, uh, you won't be able to get a nut on. So later on in this video, again, this is all a discovery thing. I'm gonna pull out a heat gun, and those U-nuts are on plastic, so I'm gonna heat up the plastic and bend the U-nut so the bolt is away from this little problem here. In other words, you want to be like 1.5 inches away from this edge, or else you can't get a nut on there. So let's just skip ahead, see if I do the heat gun here. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so here, I'm gonna try I decided I need to try the Valance.
There's a spot right here.
Or the air dam, whatever you want to call it, goes at the bottom. So the reason I'm putting these on is and the reason I'm sharing it, again, it's hard to do this, but let's see. So what we have right now, okay, what I was saying about the height is until this Valance is on, or this air dam, you don't really know if anything is right. You don't know if it's in far enough this way. You don't know if the height is right that way. You don't know. So here, I'm going to try the Valance, and I'll get into more how that mounts. But right now, I'm just trying. What I'm thinking about is how is this right? Okay, the height. Let me just listen for a second. There's a gap here. Okay, I'm going to stop it again. So up here, right about here, as this thing slips in, it won't slide over anymore. I mean, you could make some modifications to the plastic so it would slide over more, which I might end up doing. But again, you have to get both sides on to find out. Like when I get over to this side, am I going to have the same gap, or am I going to have no gap, or is it going to overlap? I don't know. But it did turn out that the height is good. But I have that gap there. I got these manifold studs in here. You know, I'm thinking I don't need to reverse this one, just this one. Talking about the unit. This one doesn't poke through. Okay, for some reason I'm having problems on this side compared to the other side. So let's just skip ahead. Again, I'm trying to figure out. Again, I'm having the same issues trying to get these to go with the manifold studs. I can slip it through and see it. First of all, okay, right here. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Where I'm gonna have to heat up the plastic to bend that. This stud right now that's sticking out of the plastic is hitting right there. I can't even get it in the hole. So I'd say if you're going to be doing this, get yourself a heat gun off of Amazon or something. Let's hear what I'm saying. But so here's the heat gun. First time I open the box. But if you look at this stud right here, it's right up against the edge. I can't. It needs to be bent away. So that's what this is all about. Now I'm trying to figure out what tip. I don't want to heat up everything. Direct the heat, which is what I need. So it came with a bunch of different tips. I'm just thinking, what's the best tip here? Or maybe I need this one. So we'll skip ahead a little bit. So put a glove on in case it gets, because it does get hot. The plastic will get hot. By the way, you see that scuff? There is a label on here. I had to figure out how to get the label off. Paint thinner worked the best. I'm trying to heat up at the bottom of it where that stud is. Then I'm going to bend it. Bend the plastic. It needs to be like 1.5 inches away. Starting to bend. I think that's about right. Shit, now I need a wet rag and I don't have one. Got an air hose. Trying to cool it down so it'll stay in place. Yeah, I'm measuring it to see if it's about 1.5 inches. Still hot. Stupid light. So I'm so sick of buying tools, but I think this was like $30, and it just paid for itself. You know, the other thing is, no matter how many times I clean this table, every time you do something new, you end up with all kinds of stuff all over the place. So I'm gonna skip ahead, stop this. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna turn the volume down. So what I discovered when I was putting this on, I could barely see. Again, this is a factory fender. I could barely see a line of where the old flare used to be. So I'm gonna put some tape on there to help guide me. Because if you notice when I put this up, I'm trying to figure out why isn't what is right and what is wrong. And see, notice there's a kind of a gap up here. Again, the more you push the top in, the more that'll go in. So skip ahead. Again, I'm trying to figure out what the heck do I do. So what I did do is right the edge of this metal, I bent it in a little bit. Bent that in a little bit, and then I think fixing that stud, I don't have to. It wants to naturally push it away. So the more the studs are in the center of the hole, the more chance this is going to go all the way over easily. Okay, here I'm just talking about as I was taking the car apart and I used that other car, I just cleaned up all these nuts and U-nuts. So when you need something, you have it. Nothing worse than you get to the point you need something and you got to stop and go get it or order it or whatever. So there's all kinds of stuff in here that I had actually cleaned and spray painted with rust killer. Okay, here I'm thinking about putting the valance on, but how does the air down? Whenever I say valance, I mean air down. Whenever I say air down, I mean valance. But it's basically the part that meets the Flairs on both sides. So just stop this, and I'll tell you what I figured out. Get again what I just showed of the box of parts I have. Slip on a U-nut here. It's right about here. One, no, and one over here, and this valance or air dam, it's got 3 pre-drilled holes. That one on this side, take that nut out. So you have to put a U-nut here, a U-nut here, and use that nut, that bolt right there. Again, I don't know when I discovered it. It took a while. Okay, there it's up, but I don't have the middle one in yet. Let me see if I show the other side. Okay, that's the driver's side. I'm not sure what I'm looking at right here. Let's see, that's still the driver's side. Again, I'm just thinking about what is right and wrong. Okay, this is later. I figured out that I had to take out that one I was just talking about. So now it'll bolt right in. Okay, got that one in. That one lines up. And this one lines up. Again, to order these parts, look at the last video. Okay, so just looking at this thing. Again, I'm trying to help. I know I keep saying this, but I'm trying to help somebody else. Skip ahead. Okay, now I just want to. I can't remember what I'm going to say here, so I'm going to play this. This fender needs to come down. For one thing, this needs to come down. The problem is when I put this flare against it, it doesn't fit tight up like it did on the other one. In other words, those flares need to hug this sheet metal. That's just part of the solution. Now I'm just going to take out these 2 nuts that bolt to the radiator for it. And let's see what happens. I can't remember. Again, I can always put shims or spaces up in there. Like a Rubik's Cube. Just see how it fits. So if I look at the other side, right now, flush right there. Right now, I'm just comparing what I have on the other side. That gap right there. And the weird thing is, they look at just about the same. So what is going on here? Skip ahead where I put the flare on. Back. You know, watch this arm. This part I do remember. Notice how tight that flare is? That one's hidden. In fact, it's overlapping underneath. Getting better. So what does that mean? Does it mean I have to pull this fender out, or does it mean I have to notch this? And I could use this to my advantage. Slip this overlapping. I could make these over and push it that way. It'll make that end tighter. Because this lines up and this lines up. It's good though, man. It's good here, here, here. Notice up here. But let's look at the tape now. When I first started, it was a half-inch out the tape. So I also want to point out, because I've never seen this car together, which I say, I guess, every time, there's like a half-inch gap all the way along here. Is that the way it's supposed to be? I don't know. I don't know. But it lines up over here. If I, in other words, if I slide this thing, it does have a little play. I can slide a little bit that way. I can slide it a little bit uh, in and out this way. But if I line it up, there's still like a half-inch to a three-quarter gap all the way along here. And by the way, this is going to be held on with like sheet metal screws. You're going to screw through the outer fender and the inner fender. So again, this is just part one of Flairs, but I'm just sharing what I'm learning. And I don't have the welting on this one yet. Again, I did the other one. I wanted to try it, learn how to do it. But before I bolt this on, I want to put it on just so I can keep track of it. Let's see what happens. Again, I'm just thinking about what do I do? What do I do? I've been down here for about 2 hours putting these, fitting these flares, trying to figure it out. You can see I got the valance end down right here, that flare. And if you want to watch how I fit it, watch this video. And I'm still working on the other side. Got these parts off eBay, off from the parts place, no, from Camaro Central. I meant Firebird Central, but I found out Firebird Central and Camaro Central are the same company. They just sell parts for Camaro and Firebird because a lot of the parts are interchangeable. So actually, these parts said Camaro on them. If you watch my last video, I go over what to order. So again, I'm just going to call this part one of Flairs. Fitting them. But if I basically gave the basic information of how to do it. And it's weird if you don't have the parts and you've never seen them, you have to work it out. So that's it.